Welcome to Ghoulish Gab, always spooky, always under 7 minutes. Today we're going to talk about fantasy-based horror movies, horror, fantasy, blend. How are we describing fantasy? I feel like there's kind of a fine line.
I feel like, I don't know that it's a fine line, but I feel like everybody's description of fantasy is different. So in my brain, fantasy involves a lot of magic and or just, this sounds bullshit, but like fantastical elements. Like horror in itself is not fantasy, but I don't know how to pin it. It's just I have in my head what fantasy is, and that's how I based my selection.
I think magic is a good base for it. So I'm going to start off with The Wishmaster from 1997. Executive producer was Wes Craven. You've probably heard of him. But a genie, or a djinn, as they call it back in the old days, is released from a jewel and seeks to capture the soul of the woman who discovered him so that he can open a portal to his home world so that his people can enslave the earth. I mean, it's your typical standard sort of thing.
It's your standard djinn story, you know?
He's magical. There's sequels.
The first one can't. I mean, the sequels are they're worth a watch, but
I think there was 3 of them. Yeah, I would only pretty much recommend the first one, but yeah, there's magic. It's a genie. There's some bullshit. He tries to take over the world, that sort of thing. It's kind of on par with Warlock, which I was like, which one do I talk about? And I'm like, it's almost kind of the same shit.
Like just 2 different fantasy creatures.
Yeah.
So a lot of my fantasy horror are actually like more children-based horror. I feel like it's easier to put fantasy into children-based horror. So I'm going to start off with 1985's Legend. Directed by Ridley Scott. Tim Curry, Tom Cruise, Mia Sara. Jack is this young teenage man who's in love with a princess named Lily. And they have to stop the darkness from killing the last 2 unicorns to eliminate light. And as a child, this movie is terrifying. Tim Curry as Darkness is terrifying, inspiring, and hot. Like, I could change him? Maybe? But probably not. But there's other creatures that I feel like aren't even supposed to be terrifying that scared the shit out of me as a child. Annabelle Lanyon plays Una, and she's this fairy, and her voice was super raspy, and it would but raspy, like high-pitched raspy, and she scared the shit out of me. And then there was Alice Playton as Blix, who has my favorite quote from that entire movie, which is, "Black as midnight. Black as pitch, blacker than the foulest witch." And that movie scared the shit out of me as a kid, and now it doesn't scare me, but I could watch it endlessly. And if you get a chance to watch the director's cut, do it, because it makes the story that much better.
I think I've only seen that once when I was somewhat younger. I need to rewatch that one. I'm going to go with Death of a Unicorn next. It's a newer movie just from last year. But it was definitely magical. It was definitely a kind of gruesome as well, too, and it was pretty fun. It's got Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega as father and daughter, kind of on a weekend retreat, who they accidentally kill a unicorn with their car while they're en route to a billionaire's house in regards to something with the dad's work. Who cares? But, I mean, essentially, the unicorn, they think the unicorn is dead. The billionaires find out about it. It gets weird. It gets magical. It gets very violent. Very violent. So it's, I said, it's a lot of fun, but it's also pretty gory too. I thought it was a thrilling ride. I enjoyed it very much.
You cannot talk about fantasy-based horror, in my opinion, as an ex-mall goth without talking about The Crow from 1994, starring the late Brandon Lee. Night before his wedding, Eric Draven and his fiancée are murdered, and then on the anniversary of their death, Eric comes back to life with this magic crow that is directly tied to his life force. And he goes on a vengeance spree. And it's a beautiful movie, very well done, very actiony, but it's still got the fantasy elements, even in the way that the plot doesn't feel fantasy when you describe it out loud, but the way that they phrase things or set things up is a lot of similar elements to fantasy books I read as a kid. Like, there's one main evil man, a lot of minions, and this guy is trying to take down the whole thing. And the soundtrack's great.
Mm-hmm.
The acting's great. It's very, like, dark, very almost, it's like not black and white, but it's almost black and white with the way they, like, filtered it. It's very good. Very good.
Big fan. My last one's going to be The Company of Wolves from 1984, which is kind of it reimagines Little Red Riding Hood, but with a lot of werewolf mythology. And it's a very dreamy movie as well, too. I mean, there's definitely a lot of fantasy. You have your horror elements with the werewolves, a lot of folklore stuff too. And this is another one where like there's some gruesome bits, and the practical effects with the werewolves are just really good. So if you're into the Little Red Riding Hood versus werewolf type thing, this one's definitely worth checking out.
Very quickly, because we're almost out of time, another child-based fantasy horror, Coraline from 2009. Like this little girl moves into a house with her family and discovers this dimension door into what seems to be an idyllic opposite dimension. And then there's button eyes. I'm sorry, I love stop motion, I love fantasy, and I love button eyes. All right, tell us what your favorite fantasy horror movies are. Come on. Enlighten our world, because I gotta have more than just my romantasy. I gotta have horror fantasy too.
Make your comments magical, bitch.
Bye.